Do you want to know how to teach a kid to swallow a pill? I know that that can be a difficult thing to master. I am Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication as well as child development all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're going to help you teach your child to swallow a pill. In this video, we're going to talk about why children or people in general struggle with the idea of taking pills and what you can do to remove that barrier for them and help them plan to be successful at taking pills. I have to admit, I did not like taking pills when I was a child. It actually took me a while to learn how to take pills. My mother, I would watch her take pills. She would take like a handful of pills, all these different vitamins, supplements, whatever. She would throw them in her mouth and just drink them back, you know? And I thought, no way. How can you do that, Mom? I mean, it just made me kind of my gag reflex get going and all that kind of stuff just to see that. If I ever had to take a pill, like a little, you know, baby aspirin or something, she would cut it in half to try to get it to go down for me. And she would be like, honey, just put it to the back of your tongue and just drink it back. And I would try to put it to the back of my tongue but I knew it was there and that it was going to go down, and I hadn't chewed it, and it was like a problem. So I couldn't do it. And so I would gag and it would dissolve and it would taste bad and I would spit it out and she would try again. And every once in a while, maybe, you know, I could get that little thing to go down, but it was hit and miss. And every single time that I got sick, I would say, I want the liquid triaminic. You know, I wanted something that was liquid. I did not want to have to take the pill. And if I went to the doctor and they would say, okay, so she needs an antibiotic, so we'll have you take one of these pills, you know, every day or twice a day. And I would look at my mom and she would say, could we have the liquid, please? Anyway, and so I was a wimp. I had a hard time taking pills. But then as time went by, I decided I had to master this. This was getting in the way of my quality of life. Now, as a young child, I probably didn't think quality of life, but I think before I could swallow a pill, I was probably 12, maybe even 13 or 14. So I was getting to be a teen and I still couldn't swallow a pill. And I could see all my friends do it. They would talk about who could swallow a pill, who couldn't, and I couldn't. And I thought, I have got to master this. So I remember one time at dinner, I swallowed a really big bite of something. And I remember thinking, whoa, that made my whole throat feel like it was stretching. That was such a big bite. And I really should have chewed that up before. And I remember saying to my mom, Mom, I just swallowed a really big bite and it hurts in my throat. And she would say, you know, Nicholeen, that really big bite is probably one of the biggest things that you'll ever swallow. It's bigger than any pill or anything. And I remember thinking, wait, I swallow things all the time. I swallow food all the time. And I never think about how I'm swallowing it. I just do it. I just swallow it. Now, when children are little, they think about swallowing it. My little granddaughter, Clara, she's 2. She'll sometimes chew food, or she'll just keep it in her mouth because she doesn't want to swallow it. And she'll think about not swallowing it. But once we get older, once we put it in our mouth, we just usually chew it and swallow it if it's food, unless we get too mental about it. So what is the real problem with somebody swallowing pills? It's all mental, right? We know that. It's anxiety. So how do you help the child get over the anxiety? Now, if you've subscribed to this channel already, you know that everything here is about teaching children and adults self-government. So a big part of self-government isn't just what's happening on the outside of the person, like the emotions on the outside, but it's about what processing is going on the inside. In particular, what a person is choosing to think and believe. What are the truths? What are the lies? So when it comes to swallowing a pill, For me, I was believing a lie. I couldn't do this. This would be too big. It can't go down without being chewed yet. But suddenly that day at the dinner table, I recognized a truth. I swallow big things all the time in my mouth, down my throat. So that must mean that I could swallow a pill. So I need to practice that. So you know what I did? All on my own, I took little pieces of cracker, little pieces of bread, and I would put them in my mouth, and I would tell myself, well, this is no big deal because it's just cracker, it's just bread, and I would just swallow it down. And so I would practice swallowing my food without chewing it, because I knew that if I could swallow my food without chewing it, I could swallow a pill without chewing it, right? Because that was the problem. I wanted to chew it and then swallow it down. So anyway, I worked myself up to the point where I could swallow a pill because I could swallow my food without chewing it, and I never got that big feeling in my throat that was like it was too much that was going down my throat. It hit it that time. Yep. And I never got that feeling in my throat, that big feeling that was like, oh, it was too much for me to swallow. So I knew everything was just fine. Nothing hurt me. It was okay. So now I'm to a point where I can take most pills and just put them in my mouth and just swallow them with my spit without even, having a drink or anything like that. Obviously, taking a drink is a little bit easier because the idea is you think about drinking and you don't think about the pill. But you have to tell the person to think only about drinking and to not think about the pill. They have to tell themselves, don't think about the pill, only think about drinking. But even then, that's hard. My mom tried to get me to do that, and I struggled until I had some practices. So you may want to do practices with other food with your children. Now, when I was trying to teach my children to swallow pills, of course, we had the same problem. But then suddenly an idea occurred to me. Wait, you swallow food all the time. I practiced with food. People always want to chew food. So I said this to my son, Quinn. I said, Quinn, how about you take a cracker or a piece of bread and you chew it up, but don't swallow it. Just chew it up. So your body really wants to swallow it because it's all chewed. And then put a pill in there with it and then just swallow it and just drink it down because you already know it's chewed. And you can tell yourself, I just chewed all of this. And then you can just hurry and drink it down. So he was like, okay, I'll try it. So he tried it and it worked. So from then on out, I taught all of my children, chew up a bite of food, and then put the pill in and then drink it back and you'll be just fine. And honestly, that was the easiest way. I wish I would have learned that way when I was younger. But it just required creating a plan for how you were going to do it and to tell yourself it was going to be okay. Come up with a method that you felt like you could be all right with. Then the anxiety decreases. Making a plan makes all the difference. So here at the Teaching Self-Government channel, I talk about making plans for all kinds of things. But there are main skills that help your children be prepared for nearly every circumstance. And you can find out about those 4 basic skills of self-government, about the courses and trainings that I have, and about how to help you and your children find more calmness, all on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. So go to that website, learn more about teaching self-government and helping your children overcome all kinds of hard things today. I'll see you there.